And we're making a start here with the big breaking news at this point in time. The Congress leaders who were detained earlier have now been released. Let's cut across.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to be seeing a lot more reactions there coming in. But remember, Congress had held pan-India protest today against the centre's inaction, as they call it, against price rise and unfair GST. In fact, Mumbai, Chennai, Guwahati, Jammu, everywhere there were a lot of protests that were seen. In national capital, there was a face-off as well between the protesters and the police. And several leaders were detained, including Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi. Priyanka Gandhi herself had a huge face-off with the cops, and you can see those visuals there on your screens as well. And in fact, that's not all. All right, let's cut across. More reactions.
पहले मैं उसकी निंदा करता हूँ, भर्त्सना करता हूँ। वहीं मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि हम तो राष्ट्रपति भवन जा रहे थे, शांतिपूर्वक जा रहे थे। सांसदगण यही कहने जा रहे थे कि महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी, आपने ही तो बुलाया था ये सेशन पार्लियामेंट, और वहाँ हम अपनी बात कह नहीं पा रहे हैं महंगाई पर, बेरोजगारी पर, एजेंसियों के दुरुपयोग पे। तो आप मेहरबानी करके निर्देश दें, यही तो कहते हैं उनसे। परंतु जिस बर्बरता से, जिस निरंकुशता के साथ रोका गया, बलपूर्वक हम लोगों को यहाँ लाया गया, यहाँ रखा गया जेल में, ये लोकतंत्र की हत्या है।
तो आगे कांग्रेस की क्या रणनीति है आपकी?
सड़क पर, संसद में, हर जगह लोकतांत्रिक ढंग से तब तक संघर्ष करेंगे जब तक महंगाई जो बढ़ी है, जीएसटी नहीं हटाई जाती, बेरोजगारी के लिए कोई रोड मैप नहीं तैयार होता और सरकारी एजेंसियों का दुरुपयोग कोई नहीं रोकता।
धन्यवाद।
Well, in fact, it was a massive face-off that was seen in the middle of the national capital, on the streets of the national capital, between the Congress leader and cops as well. Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, other Congress leaders were stopped in their protest march against inflation. Let's cut in.
शांतिपूर्वक प्रोटेस्ट करने दे रहे हैं। ये लोकतंत्र में आज से पहले कभी हुआ नहीं। विपक्ष को पूरा राइट होता है अपनी बात कहने का। हम महंगाई पे प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे थे, शांतिपूर्वक मार्च कर रहे थे और राष्ट्रपति जी से मिलने जाना चाहते थे। आज पूरे देश में मैसेज गया है और आज पूरे देश में कांग्रेस का प्रोटेस्ट हुआ है और आवाम हमारे साथ है और हम चाहते हैं कि जो गूंगी बहरी सरकार है उसके कान में आवाज पहुंचे और जो जीएसटी 5% और 12 से 18 किया गया है उसको कम किया जाए। चलो।
Well, those are the details here coming in at this point in time. But let me go across to Nukul, who's joining us for more at this point. Nukul, what can you tell us? Earlier on, it was a massive face-off that we saw erupt on the streets of the national capital. But now Congress leaders, including Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi, have been released. All right, we will try and reconnect with Nukul in just a bit. But what we saw earlier on today was a massive face-off in Delhi between Congress leaders and the cops. Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, others were stopped in their protest march. Priyanka Gandhi, in fact, sat down on the road for a while as the other leaders were stopped on their tracks during their protest march from Parliament to the President's house. She was, in fact, roughed up by the cops herself. And that's the visual that's playing out for you on the left sides of your screens. Priyanka Gandhi literally being roughed up, manhandled and dragged into the police car there. So that is really what happened today. Meanwhile, Congress leader Deepender Hooda was also seen being dragged by the police. All the leaders have been released now. But Nukul is now back with us. Nukul, what's the latest? What can you tell us?
Yes, we are at the Kingsway Club right now, and the leaders have been released after more than 5 years of detention here at the Kingsway Club, and it's a sigh of relief for the Congress and leaders who have been protesting since the morning, and police had detained them while they were protesting at the Vijay Chowk and at the AICC headquarters this morning, and they were detained and brought to Kingsway Club, and here you can see that after more than 5 hours of detention, they have been released. Various Congress leaders, senior leaders of Congress, had been detained, including the members of Parliament and Rahul Gandhi, including Priyanka Gandhi, was inside this Kingsway Club. We spoke to several leaders who were present here. Sachin Pilot had come out and gave a bite and said that this is a fight which Congress will continue in the further coming days as well. This is a fight against the inflation, and this is a fight against the price rise that has been going on, and the Congress is still firm on the stance that this fight is on the price rise and the inflation that is going on in the country. As in the morning we saw during the protest as well, Congress have been very firm on this stance. At the same time, we spoke to Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary as well, who had stated, we also posed him a question on stating that one of the Congress leaders are saying that we are protecting and fighting against and protecting our Neta, but they are continuously firm on the stance and have been saying that we are fighting against the price rise and the inflation in the country and against the employment. But the latest update so far we are getting is that after more than 5 hours of detention, Congress leaders have finally been released from the Kingsway Club.
Absolutely, Nukul. In fact, earlier on, the way we saw that entire face-off that happened, in fact, Priyanka Gandhi herself, who was being literally picked up and shoved inside the police car over there. What has been the reaction to all of that? Because this has escalated to another level now. It's no longer simply about, protests that are taking place.
Well, absolutely high-intense dramatic visuals we saw this morning while Priyanka Gandhi was also detained by the police. She was trying to resist the detention, but at the same time we saw the visuals that how she was resisting the detention made by the Delhi police officials. But at the same time, the reaction would come out later. At the same time, we know given to understand that there was no prior permission. At the same time, the administration had also announced that there is no permission to protest, and Section 144 is there. So there was absolutely no permission given by the administration to protest. But the Congress yesterday, Nasir Hussain, the MP of the Congress, had yesterday also after the press conference announced that they are going to protest all across the country, and they are going to protest from the Parliament to the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and will go do a gherao outside the PM residence. But the plans were shattered by the Delhi police. They put the barricades, and they were detained before they could protest. At the same time, we saw high visual drama outside the Parliament at the Vijay Chowk. At the same time, we saw how Congress leaders were also detained outside the AICC, including Priyanka Gandhi and senior leader of Congress. But right now, the Congress leaders have been released from the Kingsway Club after more than 5 hours of detention.
All right, Nukul, thank you so much for getting us all of those details. That's the latest update here as far as this entire drama is concerned. But if you've just tuned in and missed out all the drama through the day, let's recap what happened today. Congress held pan-India protests against the centre's inaction over price rise and unfair GST. Remember, this has been an issue that has been going on for a while now. Protests were seen in Mumbai, in Chennai, in Guwahati, in Jammu. Police used water cannons on Congress workers in Chandigarh. But like we were just talking about, massive face-off was seen on the streets of Delhi between Congress leaders and cops. Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, other Congress leaders were all stopped in their protest march against inflation and detained by the cops. They've just been released. But Priyanka Gandhi, during that time, Priyanka Gandhi then sat on the road for a while as the other leaders were being stopped on their tracks during their march from Parliament to the President's house. Congress leader Deepender Hooda, meanwhile, was seen dragged by the police. All the leaders have been released now. BJP has hit back at Congress, saying that the Gandhi family, which has been stung by ED investigation, is using price rise as an excuse to protest.
हम शांति से राष्ट्रपति भवन जाना चाह रहे थे। सारे के सारे एमपीज हैं राज्यसभा और लोकसभा के, मगर यहाँ पे हमें अलाउ नहीं किया जा रहा। हम महंगाई के मुद्दे पे, बेरोजगारी के मुद्दे पे हम यहाँ खड़े हैं।
ये आपको जाने क्यों नहीं दे रहे हैं?
ये आप उनसे पूछिए।
वो तो बोलते हैं
लोकतंत्र की हत्या हो रही है।
वो तो बोल रहे हैं 144 लगी, इसलिए आप लोग यहाँ पे नहीं खड़े हो सकते।
मगर हम हैं यहाँ पे, मतलब हम एमपीज हैं,
they are manhandling you.
Yeah, that's fine. No problem. It doesn't matter. Our job is to resist these forces. Our job is to make sure that Indian democracy is protected. Our job is to raise issues of the people like unemployment and crisis, and we are doing that.
In fact, dramatic scenes in Delhi today as Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi was seen being dragged, roughed up and detained by the police. Gandhi has rebuffed BJP's charge that Congress protests are not about the ED crackdown on them, but that it is inflation that the protest is against. She added that they want to draw the government's attention towards the crippling inflation.
को परवान चढ़ाने का काम इस देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने किया था। कांग्रेस ने आज का दिन इसीलिए विरोध के लिए और विशेषकर काले कपड़ों में विरोध के लिए सिलेक्ट किया है कि वो एक शटल मैसेज देना चाहते हैं कि हम राम जन्मभूमि के शिलान्यास का विरोध करते हैं और अपनी तुष्टीकरण की नीति को वो आगे बढ़ाना चाहते हैं। और मैं तो यही कहना चाहूंगा कि तुष्टीकरण की नीति न देश के लिए अच्छी है न कांग्रेस के लिए अच्छी है। तुष्टीकरण की नीति के चलते ही आज कांग्रेस जिस स्थिति में है वो स्थिति में दिखाई पड़ रही है। और जहां तक ईडी का सवाल है, सभी ने देश के कानून की व्यवस्था का सम्मान करना चाहिए और सहयोग करना चाहिए। धन्यवाद।
All right, that was Amit Shah there speaking out as far as the Congress protests are concerned, saying that the law and order should be followed as well, reacting, of course, to the drama that was seen today on the streets of the national capital with regard to these protests. Remember, it's been several days now that Congress has been protesting against price rise and inflation, demanding that the government take more action to sort of curb inflation and bring down prices at this point in time. The other big bone of contention, of course, is GST as well. Recently, GST was put in place and implemented for certain essential food products, pre-packaged food products, that is, and that has also been a big bone of contention. We're getting in some more breaking news coming in. Taipei says 68 Chinese fighter jets and 13 warships have crossed the median line that runs down the Taiwan Strait on Friday, calling it highly provocative. Those are the latest details here coming in. 68 Chinese planes crossed the median line. 13 warships have crossed, Chinese warships crossed the median line. This is the word coming in from Taiwan at this point in time. This amid the mega face-off between Taiwan and China ever since Nancy Pelosi's Taiwan visit escalated these tensions as well. So those are the latest details here coming in as far as Taiwan is concerned, and in fact this action has been called highly provocative at this point in time. This is the latest information here coming in. Remember, ever since Nancy Pelosi set foot in Taiwan, China has been... All right, we've got Srinjoy joining us for more details here. Srinjoy, this seems to be escalating. It looks like Taipei saying 68 Chinese fighter jets and 13 warships have crossed the median line.
Yes, there are military measures that are being looked at. There are diplomatic measures that have already been taken. There are economic measures and strategic measures. The Chinese, as you rightly said, are looking at military measures. And it's not just missiles that are being fired into the Sea of Japan and into the Taiwan Straits, but also, as you rightly said, aircraft are hovering around Taiwan, military aircraft, also warships nosing around Taiwan, and this is not something the world will like. Thirdly, you have seen the sanctions on Nancy Pelosi. That is something that the Chinese have already done, and they have imposed very, very severe economic restrictions on Taiwan. So overall, all this was expected, and it was expected to happen right after Nancy Pelosi left. Nancy Pelosi, of course, is persona non grata in China, in Beijing, as is her immediate family. There are sanctions on her. They're not sure what the sanctions really mean, but they're certainly there. So right now, there are economic sanctions, sanctions on Pelosi, a lot of meetings that the Chinese and the Americans were supposed to have had have been called up, and there is that military threat. Missiles being fired, warships close by, planes getting close to Taiwan. All of it is a way to threaten Taiwan.
Yes, absolutely, Srinjoy. And just taking that point forward, I mean, Nancy Pelosi's visit was obviously a very well strategically thought out plan by the US. So obviously something that US could not have not foreseen in terms of the repercussions. But the question now is, to what extent is China willing to go, and when, and what is going to be US's reaction now?
Well, China is likely to do everything except go to war, because China probably realizes it is not as strong as the United States. It is not ready as yet, according to American strategists, to actually invade Taiwan. It might in a few years, but not yet. It's the assumption that the American strategists have, which is why the China, everything else, all the missile firing, all this hovering around Taiwan, all the warships, all the planes, all that has already, plus the economic warfare. You would expect a few cyber attacks as well. The Chinese are particularly good at those things. So all those things are probably expected over the next 2 days and weeks.
All right. Yes. All right, Srinjoy. Thank you so much for joining us and putting it into perspective. Moving now to the southern state of Kerala, where rain continues to wreak havoc. At least 19 people have lost their lives so far in rain-related incidents. A red alert has been issued in about 8 districts. Water levels in rivers and reservoirs has risen to dangerous levels at a number of places in the state that is, in fact, crisscrossed by 44 rivers. This has forced authorities to open shutters of dams and manage water level in the reservoirs. Rescue teams have shifted over 6,000 people to 221 relief camps. Over 250 houses are damaged in the rain, in fact, caused flood fury. Vivek joining us for more details here. Vivek, what's the latest situation that you can tell us in terms of the rains? Which are the areas that are most impacted right now?
See, as we speak right now, I can just give you the total number of people who have died. 19 people have lost their life, right from since July 31st. And there are nearly 4,000 camps that has been set up. But as of now, the situation has come back to normalcy in almost every part of the state except Kottayam and parts of Idukki, and also in certain areas where the Chalakudi River flows. So in these areas, the water level has risen, but now the water level is coming down. Also, one more thing important, today the Mullaperiyar Dam and the shutters of Mullaperiyar Dam and Malampuzha Dam was opened, due to which the water level in Periyar has risen. People living in that area, around that area, have been asked to vacate from the place. As of now, situation has come back to normalcy, especially in all southern districts. Now, the matter of concern right now is Kottayam, Idukki, and Alappuzha. The IMD has predicted that for the next 4 days, that there is going to be heavy rainfall. Now, if that happens, yes, the water level could increase and could be a huge concern for the revenue department and the state police, who is right now undertaking all the rescue and relief operations.
All right, Vivek, thank you so much for getting us all of those details. And let's move to Tamil Nadu now, where heavy showers lashed the state, causing a flood-like situation in many districts. Houses were flooded in several areas, causing officials to evacuate over 500 residents to safer zones. Incessant rains also triggered water levels in dams to rise. Kaveri Basin is inching closer to the danger level. Meanwhile, an alert has been issued in places close to the river bodies, and fishing is banned. Schools have been declared shut as well in the rain-affected areas. Those are the details here coming in as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned. Rain continuing to pound several districts. Over 500 people have been evacuated from certain areas. The Kaveri Basin is on its brink. Water level has risen as well in many parts, in dams as well. The houses are inundated and there is waist-deep water in many areas as well. So those are the latest details here coming in as far as Tamil Nadu rain is concerned. So both Kerala and Tamil Nadu being battered by rainfall at this point in time. Dharani is joining us for more details here. Dharani, what's the latest that you can tell us with regard to Tamil Nadu? Which are the areas which are most impacted?
Well, areas adjoining the western Ghats in Tamil Nadu, district adjoining the western Ghats in Tamil Nadu, they've been receiving heavy to very heavy rainfall for the past few days. So, the districts namely include Salem, Tirupur, Coimbatore, Nilgiris, Kallakurichi, Dharmapuri, etc. So these are the western districts of Tamil Nadu, and because of the southwest monsoon, these districts have been experiencing heavy to very heavy rainfall in the past few days. So when we talk about tomorrow specifically, the Tamil Nadu Meteorological Department has told that the districts of Nilgiris and Coimbatore will be experiencing heavy to very heavy rainfall along with thunderstorms and lightning. So these two districts, people from these two districts, they have to be very careful today because there is a chance for heavy to very heavy rainfall in Coimbatore and Nilgiris districts of Tamil Nadu. But meanwhile, yesterday, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, he held a meeting with all the western district collectors and he took stock of the situation, and he has also instructed all the collectors of the western districts of Tamil Nadu to not let water out of any dams without prior information to the people. And he has also told that no water should be let out of any dam during night times. This instruction has been very strictly given to all these officials because if people are not knowing if water being let out from the dams in their area, chance for heavy flooding and they might get stuck in the floods. So that's the reason why this instruction has been given. So on the other hand, relief camps have also been set up by the government. Over 500 relief camps have been set up, and people who are living in low-lying areas, they are being evacuated by the the government, and they are being taken to the relief camps, and they are provided with all the basic necessities there. So as I told, as far as tomorrow is concerned, the Nilgiris and Coimbatore districts, they have to be, they can be expecting heavy to very heavy rainfall, and they have to take all the precautionary measures in advance.
All right, Dharani, thank you so much for joining us with all of those details. On that note, we'll slip into a very quick break, but we'll be back with lots more. Stay on.
In association with Blue Dot. If it's important, Blue Dot it.
Hey Rahul, what's up?
Hey, kicked about our first date?
Of course.
New Citroën C3. Express your style.
OLX Autos ही देता है आपकी कार का बेस्ट प्राइस.
क्या बात कर रहे हो?
यही कि OLX Autos ही देता है आपकी कार का बेस्ट प्राइस. ये प्राइस नहीं, सरप्राइज है. Visit olxautos.in.
Bro, this graphics card is making my frames drop. Come with me if you want a game.
Omen 16 with Tempest cooling technology gives you 3-sided venting and 5-way airflow to make you forget your frame drops. Game on with Tempest cooling.
हर घर तिरंगा है हमारी शान. हर घर तिरंगा है हमारा अभिमान. मेरे देश में सबको मिलती पहचान. मिलकर गाए हम सब तिरंगे की तान. हर घर तिरंगा
देश की आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव मनाएं. आइए हम सब बने हिस्सा हर घर तिरंगा अभियान का.
बिजनेस ऑनलाइन लाने के चक्कर में चंपक सर के सर पे सिर्फ 4 बाल बचे. इसका सोल्यूशन है पर बिजनेस ऑनलाइन लाने का. डोंट वरी चंपक सर. विजिट ब्लू होस्ट और वेबसाइट बिल्डर से इजीली अपनी वेबसाइट बनाएं. या कॉल कीजिए, हम बना देंगे. ब्लू होस्ट, वेबसाइट मेड इजी.
Hey, listen. Ice cream? My treat. Rohan, You don't even share your tiffin. And today ice cream.
My dad has won a medal for bravery.
Wow, superb.
He's a major in the army. He protects everyone. Karan, what does your dad do?
Rohan, your daddy.
Karan, tell us now.
He too provides protection to people. He's an LIC agent.
That's great. Imagine what if something untoward happens?
So?
Well, Karan's dad provides proper guidance to protect our family's future.
Wow, Karan,
your daddy is great.
No, he's super great.
We are proud of our million-plus agents who continue to protect countless lives. Our nation needs many more committed agents like them. We welcome you to LIC. Visit your nearest LIC branch.
हर रोज बदलता है बाजार का मिजाज।
गुड मॉर्निंग स्वदेश।
आप भी हर दिन बदलिए अपना ट्रेडिंग का अंदाज।
मुझे इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है।
किन स्टॉक्स में होगी तेजी, कहां होगी बिकवाली, पहले ट्रेड से लेकर दिन के आखिरी ट्रेड तक हम बताएंगे आपके लिए कमाई के मौके। सुबह 8 बजे से शाम 4 ट्रेडिंग आवर्स में रहिए हमारे साथ। 18 आवर्स स्वदेश, बढ़ो देश के साथ।
Interest rates on your EMIs just got higher. The Reserve Bank of India has hiked the repo rate by 0.5% once again in an effort to curb inflation. But what does this mean for you and for the economy at large? And when will inflation finally come under control? We'll break it all down for you tonight at 8 p.m. on The Urban Debate.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah has reacted to the pan-India protests by Congress against a slew of BJP's policies, taking sharp aim at the Gandhis. Shah said that they must respect the law and order. Listen in.
जिम्मेदार पार्टी के नाते कानून का सहयोग देना चाहिए था। ये सारा जो मामला है ये कहीं ना कहीं कोर्ट ने रजिस्टर की हुई एफआईआर के बेसिस पर चला है, मगर हर रोज वो प्रदर्शन करते हैं। जहां तक आज का सवाल जो आपने स्पेसिफिक मुझे पूछा है, मेरा स्पष्ट मानना है कि कांग्रेस ने इसमें हिडन तरीके से अपनी अपीसमेंट की पॉलिसी को आगे बढ़ाया है। आज ईडी ने किसी भी प्रकार का ना किसी को तलब किया है, ना पूछताछ की है, ना कोई रेड हुई है, कुछ नहीं हुआ है। और अचानक ही कांग्रेस ने आज ये कार्यक्रम दिया विरोध का। मैं तो समझ ही नहीं सकता विरोध का कार्यक्रम क्यों आज दिया गया है। और हर रोज जब विरोध के कार्यक्रम होते थे तो अपने अपने ड्रेस में होते थे। आज सभी के सभी लोग काले कपड़े पहनकर करें। मैं मानता हूं कि आज ही के दिन इस देश के प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने राम जन्मभूमि का शिलान्यास किया था। 550 साल पुरानी ये समस्या का बहुत शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से समाधान निकला था और कहीं पर भी देश में ना दंगा हुआ था, ना हिंसा हुई थी और शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से करोड़ों करोड़ों लोगों की श्रद्धा को परवान चढ़ाने का काम इस देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने किया था। कांग्रेस ने आज का दिन इसीलिए विरोध के लिए और विशेषकर काले कपड़ों में विरोध के लिए सिलेक्ट किया है कि वो एक सटल मैसेज देना चाहते हैं कि हम राम जन्मभूमि के शिलान्यास का विरोध करते हैं और अपनी तुष्टीकरण की नीति को वो आगे बढ़ाना चाहते हैं। और मैं तो यही कहना चाहूंगा कि तुष्टीकरण की नीति न देश के लिए अच्छी है न कांग्रेस के लिए अच्छी है। तुष्टीकरण की नीति के चलते ही आज कांग्रेस जिस स्थिति में है वो स्थिति में दिखाई पड़ रही है।
So that was Amit Shah's reaction there, but I'm being joined by Amit for more details here. Amit, जैसा कि हमने देखा जो आज पूरे दिन जितना ड्रामा हुआ, पूरा प्रोटेस्ट हुआ और अभी अमित शाह ने जो कहा, आप हमें थोड़ा बता सकते हैं?
देखिए, मुझे लगता है कि इस पूरे मामले में जो आज सुबह से विपक्ष की जो खासकर कांग्रेस की जो पूरी जो प्रोटेस्ट था, पूरे देश भर में प्रोटेस्ट था, उसको एक नया रंग दे दिया है। जिस तरह से अमित शाह, गृह मंत्री अमित शाह शाम को पार्लियामेंट से बाहर निकले तो उन्होंने ये कहा कि आज का दिन खास तौर से चुना गया क्योंकि 550 साल पुराना विवाद, राम जन्मभूमि जो विवाद था, उसको लेकर विवाद खत्म हुआ था और विवाद के बाद यहाँ पर एक तरह से जो चीजें हुई, भव्य राम मंदिर की शुरुआत हुई, उसके बावजूद आज ही के दिन जानबूझकर जैसे लगता है कि पूरे काले कपड़े पहनकर कांग्रेस के लोगों ने विरोध किया। इससे पहले काले कपड़े पहनकर विरोध नहीं करते थे, लेकिन आज ही के दिन काले कपड़े पहनकर उन्होंने विरोध किया है। और लेकिन इसके बावजूद जिस तरह से इस पूरे मामले में है, आप कह सकते हैं कि कांग्रेस के इस विरोध को गृह मंत्री अमित शाह ने ये बात भी कही कि यही वजह है कि तुष्टीकरण की जो राजनीति जिंदगी भर आजादी के बाद से की कांग्रेस ने, इसके बाद उसकी भी वजह है कि ये सारी चीजें आज की डेट में हो रहा है कि उनके खिलाफ एक पूरा जो माहौल है वो एक कांग्रेस अभी भी नहीं समझ पा रही है। ज्यादातर राज्यों से वो साफ हो चुकी है और इसी तुष्टीकरण की का खामियाजा जो है उसको उठाना पड़ रहा है। तो ये एक बड़ी बात आप कह सकते हैं कि गृह मंत्री अमित शाह ने अपने बयान में कहा है।
जी बिल्कुल, शुक्रिया हमसे जुड़ने के लिए और सारी जानकारी के लिए। Well, Congress held pan-India protest today against the centre's inactions against price rise and unfair GST. Protests were seen in Mumbai, Chennai, Guwahati and Jammu. Police used water cannons on Congress workers in Chandigarh, but massive face-off was seen on the streets of Delhi between Congress leaders and cops. Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi and other Congress leaders were stopped in their protest march against inflation and detained by the cops. Priyanka Gandhi sat on the road for a while as Congress leaders were stopped on their tracks during their protest march from Parliament to President's house. Congress leader Deepender Hooda was seen dragged by the police. All the leaders have been released now. BJP has hit back at the Congress, saying that the Gandhi family, which has been stung by the ED investigation, is using price rise as an excuse to protest.
हम शांति से राष्ट्रपति भवन जाना चाह रहे थे। सारे के सारे एमपीज हैं राज्यसभा और लोकसभा के, मगर यहाँ पे हमें अलाउ नहीं किया जा रहा। हम महंगाई के मुद्दे पे, बेरोजगारी के मुद्दे पे हम यहाँ खड़े हैं।
ये आपको जाने क्यों नहीं दे रहे हैं?
ये आप उनसे पूछिए।
वो तो बोलते हैं
लोकतंत्र की हत्या हो रही है।
वो तो बोल रहे हैं 144 लगी इसलिए आप लोग यहाँ पर नहीं खड़े हो सकते।
मगर हम हैं यहाँ पे, मतलब हम एमपीज हैं। Yeah, that's fine. No problem. It doesn't matter. Our job is to resist these forces. Our job is to make sure that Indian democracy is protected. Our job is to raise issues of the people like unemployment and crisis, and we are doing that.
Dramatic scenes unfolded as the Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi was seen being dragged, roughed up and detained by the police. Gandhi has rebuffed BJP's charge that the Congress protests are not about ED crackdown on them, but it is against inflation. She added that they want to draw government's attention towards crippling inflation.
इनके विपक्ष में जो कुछ कहता है उनको ये दबा सकते हैं और इनको ये लगता है कि दबाने के बाद ऐसे अपनी फोर्स दिखाने के बाद हम चुपचाप से समझौता करके बस में बैठ जाएंगे इनके साथ। तो क्यों करें हम तो एक मकसद से है ना यहाँ। हमारा मकसद ये है कि हम इनके मंत्री कह रहे हैं इनको महंगाई नहीं दिखती, तो हम पीएम हाउस तक चल के महंगाई दिखाना चाहते हैं, गैस का सिलेंडर दिखाना चाहते हैं जो आज कोई खरीद नहीं सकता है। इतनी महंगाई है, चाहे गरीब हो चाहे मिडिल क्लास के हो, सब तरस रहे हैं, सब तड़प रहे हैं और कोई कुछ ना बोले।
Well, moving on now, amid the shadow of cash for jobs scam and ahead of the vice president polls, Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee met Prime Minister Narendra Modi at his official residence. The meet between the two leaders lasted for almost an hour. Later in the evening, she also called on President Murmu. The TMC Supremo, who's in Delhi on a 4-day visit, is likely to meet Congress President Sonia Gandhi as well, who was recently grilled by ED in a money laundering case related to the National Herald newspaper. Remember, CM Mamata met the party MPs yesterday as soon as she landed in Delhi. Kundan is joining us for more details here. Kundan, ममता बनर्जी का जो दिल्ली का विजिट है, उसके बारे में अब तक आप क्या बता सकते हैं?
बिल्कुल, ममता बनर्जी की आज 2 इम्पोर्टेंट मीटिंग्स हुई, जिसमें फर्स्ट पीएम के साथ 4:30 के करीब में प्रधानमंत्री आवास में उनकी मीटिंग्स हुई थी, जिसमें सेंट्रल एलोकेशंस को लेकर ममता बनर्जी ने पूरा एक लिस्ट दिया, जिसमें जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की 3 बड़ी योजनाएं हैं, जिसमें प्रधानमंत्री ग्रामीण सड़क योजना, मनरेगा और प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना को लेकर और 1,07,000 CR का ड्यूज बताया गया है कि जो इन तमाम योजनाओं में स्टेट्स का ड्यू है, पश्चिम बंगाल का ड्यू है और उसको जल्द से जल्द रिलीज किया जाए। और इसको लेकर लगातार मीटिंग तो उन्होंने पूरा ब्रेकअप दिया कि किन किन योजनाओं में कब कब जो 14 फाइनेंस कमीशन के बाद जो उनका एलोकेशन बनता है, वो एलोकेशन काफी दिनों से पेंडिंग है और वो एलोकेशन जल्द से जल्द करा जाए, जिससे वो डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट या इन प्रोजेक्ट के तहत जितने भी डेवलपमेंट काम कर रहे हैं उनको किया जाए। इसके अलावा करीब 6:30 के करीब में प्रेसिडेंट द्रौपदी मुर्मू से उनकी एक कटसी मुलाकात थी और वो मुलाकात हो चुकी है। लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री की मीटिंग ठीक अगर प्लानिंग कमीशन नीति आयोग के बैठक से ठीक पहले ममता बनर्जी का मुलाकात करना और पश्चिम बंगाल को लेके जो एलोकेशन, जिसकी अगर आप अमाउंट की बात करें तो 1 लाख करोड़ के करीब है, तो एक बड़ा अमाउंट है और उसको लेके स्टेट के तरफ से ये लगातार कहा गया, हालांकि पीएमओ के तरफ से या फिर सरकार के तरफ से इसका को लेके कुछ क्लैरिटी नहीं आया कि आखिर कब एलोकेट होगा, क्या नहीं होगा। लेकिन जिन जिन मिनिस्ट्रीज पे ये एलोकेशन की बात की गई है, जिसमें रूरल डेवलपमेंट मिनिस्ट्री हो गया, रूरल डेवलपमेंट के ज्यादातर ये मिनिस्ट्रीज के तीनों प्लान की बात कर लें तो मुझे लगता है कि मिनिस्ट्रीज की तरफ से कुछ अपडेट होंगे कि आखिर जो ये रोके गए हैं आखिर क्या वजह हो सकती है और फिर क्यों ड्यूज है, क्योंकि उनके तरफ से सेंटर के तरफ से लगातार कहा जा रहा है कि जो भी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट जो भी रिक्विजिट रिक्वायरमेंट्स होती हैं अगर वो पूरा करती है, उनके अकाउंट्स ऑडिट है, तो सेंटर के तरफ से कोई भी लोकेशन को रोका नहीं जाता। तो कुल मिला के ममता बनर्जी आज 2 इम्पोर्टेंट मुलाकात के बाद कल उनकी कोई ऐसी एंगेजमेंट नहीं और रविवार को वो जो नीति आयोग की बैठक है विज्ञान भवन में उसमें पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे।
जी बिल्कुल कुंदन, हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए और सारी जानकारी के लिए धन्यवाद। But moving on, the row over the cutting of trees in Mumbai's RA colony for the construction of the metro car shed has reached the top court. In the hearing today, the Mumbai Metro Rail Corporation informed the Supreme Court that no cutting of trees has been carried out in RA Forest region after the top court status quo order in October 2019. It said that the authorities have only removed the bushes and shrubs which had grown in the area. The metro body further assured that the top court that no trees would be cut until the next date of hearing on the 10th of August. Harish joining us for more details here. Harish, if you can take us through the developments as far as the RA case is concerned.
Yes, very significant development as far as the RA case is concerned. It's some sort of a relief for the locals of RA who have been fighting against the attempts by the Mumbai Metro Board to axe the trees, and also for the some environmentalists and nature lovers who had approached, knocked the doors of the Supreme Court against the tree cutting. The biggest takeaway is that Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, who had appeared for the Mumbai Metro Board, gave an assurance to the Supreme Court that no trees will be cut, no trees are being cut, no trees will be cut till the next date of hearing. And he also assured the court and told the court that it is wrong to say that despite the stay order from the Supreme Court given way back in October 2019, trees are being cut. The Solicitor General told the court that no trees have been cut after the Supreme Court stay order of 2019, and whatever was removed was some bushes and weeds only to cleanse the area while the Supreme Court heard the matter. So in the Supreme Court bench led by Justice U.U. Lalitas for the time being recorded the observation and the assurance given by Solicitor General Tushar Mehta that no trees will be cut till the next date of hearing. So after the Solicitor General gave this assurance, Justice U.U. Lalit said that no further orders are required. So as of now, the status quo continues as far as RA forest, the ecologically sensitive RA forest area is concerned. No trees will be cut till the next date of hearing, that is August 10, when the Supreme Court will hear detailed arguments in the matter. Back to the studio.
All right. Thank you so much for getting us all of those details. Well, Times Network's Karishma speaks with cricket's, Gabbar Shikhar Dhawan before the upcoming tour of India to Zimbabwe. Apart from cricket, Dhawan has talked about his new initiative and much more. Take a listen in.
Joining us is Indian cricketer Shikhar Dhawan. Shikhar, आप अपनी धावन स्पोर्ट्स के जरिए एक नया इनिशिएटिव ला रहे हैं. आप क्रिकेट के अलावा और स्पोर्ट्स में भी अब जाने की सोच रहे हैं. इसके बारे में थोड़ा सा बताइए.
हाँ जी हाँ, ये मेरी और मेरी टीम का एक इनिशिएटिव है और जैसे कि मैंने क्रिकेट में इतने साल गुजारे हैं तो इट्स टाइम फॉर मी टू गिव इट बैक टू द सोसाइटी एंड आई फील दैट कि सिर्फ क्रिकेट ही नहीं, बाकी सारी स्पोर्ट्स में भी कैसे एनहेंस किया जा सकता है, उनको अच्छे कोचेस ला के और सब लोगों को जोड़ के, जो जिन्होंने जैसे फुटबॉल हो गया या कोई सी अदर स्पोर्ट्स होगी जिसमें प्लेयर्स ने अच्छा किया, तो उन सबको एक साथ जोड़ के अपने यंगर जनरेशन के लिए हम और अच्छी स्पोर्ट्स और अच्छी फैसिलिटीज़, अच्छे कोचेस प्रोवाइड कर सके ताकि उनका एक स्पोर्ट्स में और बेटर फ्यूचर बन सके. तो ये एक हमारी एक एफर्ट है टीम का, तो और हमारा देश जो है वो एक स्पोर्टिंग नेशन बन सके यार.
और स्पोर्टिंग नेशन की अगर हम बात करते हैं, स्पोर्ट्स से क्रिकेट से हटकर भी अब लोगों का ध्यान जा रहा है. चाहे नीरज चोपड़ा हो गए, वो जैवलिन की तरफ लेके जा रहे हैं, मीराबाई चानू वेट लिफ्टिंग की तरफ, पीवी सिंधु बैडमिंटन की तरफ. तो कहीं ना कहीं दूसरे स्पोर्ट्स पे भी अब लोग ध्यान देने लग गए हैं.
बिल्कुल, और वो बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है कि लोग दूसरी स्पोर्ट्स पे ध्यान दे रहे हैं. तो जब वो लोग ध्यान देते हैं तो स्पोर्ट्स ग्रो करता है और चाहे वो फेम वाइज हो या फाइनेंशियल वाइज हो, वो एक स्पोर्ट्समैन को बड़ा बेनिफिट देता है. तो बहुत खुशी होती है मुझे कि बाकी जो स्पोर्ट्समैन है, आपने जितने भी बड़े बड़े नाम लिए, कि वो सब इतना अच्छा करे, सब लोगों को पहचानते हैं. क्योंकि हर एक स्पोर्ट्समैन मेहनत उतनी ही करता है जैसे अब, लेकिन इंडिया में जैसे क्रिकेट हो गया या बॉलीवुड हो गया, तो उनका एक जो लेवल कहेंगे या उनका फेम कहेंगे वो डिफरेंट लेवल का होता है. तब बट अब अच्छा लगता है कि जो बाकी स्पोर्ट्स से भी है उनका भी उतना फेम आ रहा है, उनको भी इतनी प्रशंसा मिल रही है, तो बहुत खुशी होती है. तो यही एक हमारी भी सोच है कि अब बाकी स्पोर्ट्स को भी इतना ग्रो करे कि ताकि सारी ऑलराउंड एक अच्छा स्पोर्टिंग नेशन बन सके.
शिखर, वेस्ट इंडीज टूर में आप कप्तान थे, इंडिया ने जीत भी हासिल की, तो कप्तानी का जो एक्सपीरियंस था उस बारे में थोड़ा सा बताइए. वो एक ड्रेसिंग रूम का वीडियो भी हमने देखा था, हुआ द चैंपियंस, तो काफ़ी अच्छा लगा था वो देख के. टीम का मोराल बहुत हाई लग रहा था.
हाँ जी हाँ, काफ़ी अच्छा टूर रहा मेरे लिए पर्सनली, और ऑफकोर्स इंडियन टीम के लिए भी हमने 3-0 से वेस्ट इंडीज़ को हराया विद सच अ यंग टीम. एंड I'm very, very proud of all the boys, and of course we got great supporting staff. So we synced in quite nicely, or I feel कि I'm always up to doing some good reels or मस्ती करना, तो that's my character. And
but Rahul Dravid also in the reel, which is a little unexpected.
Yeah, exactly. So I asked Rahul bhai ये करते, तो he's quite sporty that way. और क्या कहते हैं, आई फील कि आई वाज लीडिंग द साइड, बट जो मेरा कैरेक्टर है, आई लव बीइंग माई सेल्फ ओनली. सो एक उस वीडियो से एक टीम बॉन्डिंग अच्छी होगी जब बंदा करता है, उसके बाद जब देखते हैं और खुशी मिलती है कि सारे अच्छे हंसे, तो अगर सबके चेहरे पे हंसी आती है तो बहुत खुशी मिलती है.
और अब जिम्बाब्वे भी जा रहे हैं आप कप्तान के तौर पर, तो हाउ यू लुकिंग एट दैट सीरीज? इंडिया बहुत सारा क्रिकेट खेलने वाला है, T20 वर्ल्ड कप है, अगले साल 50 ओवर वर्ल्ड कप है घर पे, तो एक्सपेक्टेशंस भी बहुत ज़्यादा होंगी टीम से.
हाँ जी, कि जिम्बाब्वे टूर है तो अगेन वेरी ग्रेटफुल कि आई एम लीडिंग द साइड और यही है कि वहाँ पे जाके अच्छा करें, जीत के आएँ और यू नो इट्स अ वेरी good exposure for the young boys and I'm sure they're going to do great job over there. और अच्छी चीज़ है कि क्रिकेट बढ़ रहा है क्योंकि पिछले 2 सालों में सब लोग काफ़ी घर पे बैठे थे कोरोना के चक्कर में, तो अब क्रिकेट आ रहा है और T20 वर्ल्ड कप आ रहा है, एशिया कप आ रहा है, तो आई एम श्योर दैट T20 टीम गोना डू वेरी गुड एंड यू नो दे गोना win the trophy for us.
शिखर, आखिरी सवाल है, कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स चल रहे हैं, इंडिया बहुत अच्छा प्रदर्शन कर रही है, अभी भी 2-3 दिन बचे हुए हैं, अगर आप अपने गुड विशेस एथलीट्स को देना चाहें और आप इंस्टाग्राम पे और अपने सोशल मीडिया पे भी काफ़ी उनको कंग्रेचुलेट कर रहे हैं जो जीत के आ रहे हैं.
हाँ जी हाँ, बिल्कुल, बहुत खुशी होती है कि जब हमारे इंडियंस इतना अच्छा करते हैं और मेरी तरफ से उनको जो जिन्होंने अच्छा किया उनको ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं और जिनका आगे भी मैच है उनके लिए बेस्ट विशेस एंड आई एम श्योर कि दे गोना डू रियली वेल ओवर देयर.
And let's now take a quick look at the latest from the Commonwealth Games. Para table tennis player Bhavina Patel storms into the finals. Bhavina defeated England's Sue Bailey 3-0 in the women's singles semi-finals. The para table tennis star has assured another medal for India. India's star shuttler Kidambi Srikanth has entered the quarterfinals in men's singles. In round of 16, Srikanth defeated Sri Lanka's Dumindu 21-9, 21-12 to enter the badminton quarterfinals. The Indian table tennis team had a great outing as the men and women's doubles team reached the quarterfinals. Star paddler Manika Batra is through to quarterfinals by thrashing Australia 4-0 in women's singles. And let's get you the latest as far as Bengal House of Cash is concerned. No relief for the key accused Partho. In fact, and Arpita also both get 14 days custody as far as the ED is concerned. Adrija is joining us for more details. Adrija, if you can take us through the latest developments.
So today in the court proceeding, Partho Chatterjee and Arpita Banerjee was given a 14-day judicial custody, and they will again be presented in court on the 18th of this month. And there were certain safety concerns flagged by Arpita Banerjee's lawyer regarding her life, and the ED has also did demand in court about in order to test her food and water, which she will be provided, but that demand has not been accepted. However, a security report has been asked to be submitted in court on the 18th. The enforcement directorate will be, coming to court on a daily basis in order to question Arpita Banerjee and Partho Chatterjee. Interrogation will continue. However, Partho Chatterjee and Arpita Banerjee are sent to 2 separate jails. Arpita Banerjee has been sent to a women's cell in the Alipur Duar jail, which is in the southern part of Kolkata. And Partho Chatterjee has been sent to presidential jail. They just left the court a few hours ago, and they will again be produced in court on the 18th.
All right, Adrija, thank you so much for getting us those details. And bringing you a rare beauty directly from the Buksa Tiger Reserve in West Bengal. On your screens is a clouded leopard from the forest, which boasts of being a highly biodiverse region and is also an important habitat for cat species. Clouded leopards are found only in a few pockets of dense forests in India, and Buksa is one of them. We leave you with these visuals.